Instantly versus Smartlead. Today we're going to be going through the differences between the two platforms, which ones are best for each use case, and most importantly, what is best for you in your exact point in time in your scenario. If you don't know who I am, my name is Liam, and I run a cold email lead generation agency that works with 5 to 7 clients across the board right now and looking to scale up. And also, we send around 225,000 cold emails a month, and I've used both of these platforms. So this is my insight on the two of them. All right, let's get right into it. Awesome. So, what are they? Instantly and Smartly are cold email tools. They help companies book meetings on autopilot with cold email as an acquisition channel. If you don't know what cold email is, I have a YouTube going through the basics. It's going to be up here somewhere. The TLDR is do cold email. I truly mean this. It is one of the best acquisition channels I can possibly think of. If you've all seen the little quadrant where there's 4 ways of getting clients realistically. It's kind of like 3, but it's just like outreach, content, and ads. That's realistically it. And outreach is probably the cheapest one to get started with. Content takes longest, which is what I'm doing now. And ads takes a boatload of money. So if you're at the beginning and you're like, how do I do this? I would definitely have a look at this. At least investigate it, know if it's worth your time. So it's the cheapest way of booking calls automatically in the world. Why me? So I think I said this, but my name is Liam, and I run MTOS, a cold email lead generation agency. We send around 150 to 225, should be changed, emails a month, booking around 100 plus meetings across a few industries right now. So going into the differences. Before we begin, there's a lot of email tools on the market. There's Reach Inbox, Mistrika, Email Bison. Like I literally could rattle them off. I could like Success AI. The amount of messages I've gotten from Success AI is so funny. I guess it's working because I remember them. But yeah, so there's a lot to be honest. I'm only speaking about both Instantly and Smartlead since I've used them both. Like these are the ones I'm using actively right now. And I'll tell you near the end which ones I lean towards. Once I go through the pros and cons, because I don't want to sway your decision, even though you're probably already using one, or you're maybe thinking about using one. So I'll go through that. So the basics. I'm going to split this into 2 parts, which is the beginner and advanced. They both have their pros and cons in each section. And also, I'd like to preface this by saying that both platforms are incredible. Like they genuinely both have pros and cons. And also, the second thing is they're constantly iterating. I don't think I've been in an industry that has changed as fast as cold email. It You could literally be inboxing with Google like one day, literally one day, and then you could just not inbox with Google. Like Microsoft is really hard to inbox with right now, but they're gonna change. I guarantee they're going to change. And it's like, what are you supposed to do? And then and then Google is going to maybe make it harder, and then Outlook's gonna like soften up. So stuff changes, and these guys are changing the fastest, and that's why they're on top of the industry. So the absolute minimum that each sequencer needs to have, so it's an email sequencer, is a warm-up pool, which basically makes sure that when you're sending emails, everything you send emails to someone else in a pool. So you're actually warming up your copy, warming up your emails. Google and Microsoft actually think you're a legit person. Next one is a follow-up feature. I don't know why that some of them like it's this is just mandatory. Where when you send your initial email, so you send maybe an initial email and then you're like, okay, I need to follow up with this person because let's say you're busy. Like it doesn't make sense for you to like you're really busy, you're on a call, shows up, you're like, okay, this might be interesting, but then you have to like go to your business and then you get swamped with emails. So follow up feature. A uni box. So this makes sure that leads is all in one singular place and you make sure that you can respond to as many leads as possible in kind of one area. You could build out like an Airtable build out if you have an API, something like that. There's lots of ways of going about this, but Unibox mandatory. Chat support, which is also another option. Good chat support. Both of them, I've dealt with both their chat supports. They're actually very, very good. I'm not gonna lie, very, very good. Account analytics. So you literally just need to see what is actually doing the best at a campaign level, at a global level, across everything, at a domain level, at an inbox level. Like there's so many different stats that you have to keep track of, but those are kind of the main ones. So mandatory. An API build out. So for some of like the freaky guys out there that are a bit like me, where I'm kind of looking to keep building out some stupid automations and have lots of fun doing it and just streamline my life. API is probably for you. And then a done for you setup, which is basically if you don't want to deal with setting up inboxes, setting up inboxes, domains, all that crap that you have to deal with in deliverability. They most of them have a done for you setup where you just go in, buy a bunch of domains, and they set everything up for you because they have like an API build out and it's all automatic. You have to pay a lot of money for that. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah. So these are the two giants of the market, and I expect absolutely nothing less. it'll come down to a few factors and they'll be on a sliding scale. It won't be do they have it or do they not have it. It's going to be based on how good is it. So obviously bad. None of them really have bad things, right? But it'll be bad, like middle, good. You get the point. So it's like it slides across kind of the scale to kind of see which one is which. So yeah, going on to the next one. So the first thing is the UI or user interface. The idea is if you are a beginner, and I kind of brought this up first because I like when you kind of look at the two of the platforms, right? One of them just seems more beginner friendly, and you can kind of just kind of tell. So after sending thousands of emails on both platforms, I've come to the conclusion that Instantly has the better slash simpler UI. They just make everything so like slick. I'm not sure how to describe it. It's so slick. So everything from navigation, analytics, email accounts, everything. They make it so simple to send emails. It's the classic kind of software experience. Smartlead, on the other hand, has a clunkier UI. Robust is what I like to call it, kind of robust, kind of sturdy. So I like to, if I was to picture this in my head, it would be a Toyota versus Ferrari experience. Toyota has the clunkiness, reliability, I'll never break down feel. Ferrari is I'll get you from point A to point B and you'll have fun doing it. They both get you from point A to point B. It's no pressure, but you have different feels as you drive, like the mommy versus the daddy car or whatever. I don't know. By the way, if you like some of this more advanced stuff on cold email, but it sounds like a lot, there's a link below to book a call. To be transparent, I'm going to pitch you on the call, but before that, I want to craft a highly personalized strategy for you and your business. So you can basically take everything I say and do it yourself, or you could work with us. The goal is to get you to grow either way. Now, let's get back to the video. I don't even know if that's a reference. Oh god. Account analytics. This is everything from email accounts, campaign levels, types of replies, etc. I've gone through this as well as I was kind of going through it. The list goes on. There's like 110 things you can measure. Only a few of them actually matter, like reply rates, meeting booking rates are like the two most important ones to know. But everything else also matters in the sense that they're kind of a prerequisite to the actual thing. So I'll say it outright. Smartlead has better analytics by a country mile right now. They just have more. It's just more in depth, more comprehensive, more robust. I'll say that word again because it kind of sounds nice actually. Both have campaign and inbox level analytics, but Smartlead does better on both and has inbox level analytics on a campaign level. So you can segment inboxes at a campaign level. It's you'll understand if you do it, but basically, if you want to run a certain, let's say, campaign and you run it and then you want to segment via kind of that campaign specifically and see all the inboxes within that campaign, that's something you can do. So frankly, it's not even close on the campaign side of things or like the analytics side of things with the two of them. The one caveat I will put the one caveat to this is that Instantly is able to okay, if you are proficient at any sort of coding or like automation build out, you can just set up your own analytics dashboard. Like there's nothing stopping you from not doing that. And you could just run your own data inside this. So like at the same time, like that is the caveat where you can just automate your way out of this. So like if you don't want to deal with that, then sure, Smartlead has better analytics. But if you do want to do that, then it's like it's a level playing field. It really doesn't matter at that point. So next is the API build out. For anyone serious into lead generation and tech, a good API can be make or break. If you're only beginning, I wouldn't stress too much because you don't even know what the numbers mean or what you're automating. I did that before. I was like, oh, I have loads of this make.com experience and I can just start, I don't know, automating all this stuff that no one cares about. When realistically, I should have been writing copy and scripting new campaign angles. So now I know what matters and now I actually kind of need this because deliverability matters a lot. 95% of you will only ever do sequencer to Slack buildouts. The reason for that is because most of you have a client workspace. Maybe you have a workspace with your team or something, and you want to just send a quick API call from this, and you get an interested response, and you send it over to the Slack, and you're like, okay, we have to go into Instantly now. So there's that as well. The other 5% will build out super complex stuff, Airtables, dashboards, inbox monitoring, blah, 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 blah. You can see it there. The one that interests me the most is the Smart Lead to LinkedIn automation outreach. And the second one is if you've ever seen kind of Trigify, which I'm kind of experimenting with now, but basically you can scrape the constant, how do I describe it? The LinkedIn comments and kind of social intent triggers from LinkedIn, and then you can automate it and put it into like a clay table and send it over. Like both of them can do that, and you can send it to these sequencers. So it's very good. So I could keep going, but if you're looking to do crazy stuff, I'd recommend Smartlead. Yeah, so I'd recommend Smartlead in general for any sort of API stuff. So, inbox placement test. So this is a new thing. Well, I don't want to say completely new. People know it exists, what it kind of does, but it is really damn useful for some of this stuff. So an inbox placement test is, and like it's a feature on both platforms. So, little fun story, right? I did out this entire document. Took me a little bit, and then I put smart delivery in as there's a bar after this where it's like you'll know, and and then instantly released like like an inbox placement test feature, and I was like, I can't record the video and like not like I'd have to re-record. So this is inbox placement tests. So they both have it now. These let you test your inbox placement rate. So anybody that is even remotely sending cold emails understands how important this is, like by a country mile. Because if you don't inbox, and there's no point in you doing literally anything else. There's just 0 point. There's no point. And testing campaign copy and optimizing it so you don't land in spam is invaluable by like a mile. Like if you can increase like by 10%, like if you were to pull a lever, see like 10% more people seeing your copy is a godsend. It is a godsend because you just get more data to play with. It does cost a pretty penny, but if you can close one extra deal, then it's worth an arm, leg, and a shoulder. I don't know. Arm, leg. I think there's a third thing in that saying. I don't know. Yeah. I, I don't know. Their surface level comparison. That's the surface level comparison of what they both have. Everything else is similar, like pretty much, in terms of everything else. If I dive a little deeper on kind of the both options that like one does and like the other doesn't, so I'm gonna do like start with instantly first. So Instantly has three additional features right now, which is the lead finder, the CRM, and the website visitors. So these are kind of the main kind of three options that you'd be playing around with when you kind of see this. So if you log in instantly, you'll see these. So the lead finder is pretty self-explanatory. It's just a big kind of lead database. I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever used it except for at the very beginning. The lead finder is convenient, but the database is too small. It's 134 million, so you're missing out, right? I use Apollo primarily, or I scrape my own leads. It kind of just depends. So Apollo, wow, that was hard to say, has 210 million right now. And you can say Apollo leads get hit all the time with emails, blah, blah, blah. People make all these excuses, okay? Sure, Apollo leads get hit all the time, but just get better. Like name the big guys in this space, okay, they don't complain that like just like Apollo leads get hit all the time because they're the ones hitting the Apollo leads, right? So just get better. If you know how to write good copy, do everything along those lines, which is what you should be focusing on primarily. That's like the 80-20 of cold email and deliverability. Then yes, Apollo leads get hit all the time. But if you're good at it, then use Apollo leads. If you so like additionally, instantly is $38 for 1,000 leads. Apollo is $2 to $3 for 1,000 leads. So like there's a bit of a price discrepancy here, just like a little. I don't even know what that number is. It's like 13x or something. There's like a slight price discrepancy. So it's up to you if you want to blow money or if you want to use the cheaper, better option. Again, it's completely up to you. Ooh, whoopsies! You weren't supposed to see that. You got a sneak peek into the future there. CRM. So I can't speak on this since I also didn't use this because I just didn't need to. But there's CRMs in the market that are basically miles ahead, and I'm not bashing instantly. It's like yes, the CRMs like it's a good build out, it's convenient, it's inside the thing. But I try not to speak on things I don't use, and this is one of them. But it just, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense. Instantly is a cold emailing platform, and that's their niche. And the CRM is like nice and all, but like you can import it. Like they have HubSpot integrations. If you can build out automations, you can go Pipedrive, Close. There's just the list just keeps going on, and I just never used it. Next one is website visitors. So this is definitely the most unique feature out of all of them. You basically put a code pixel on your website and it uses your online data footprint to find your social medias, contact information, and then you can email them. So this is borderline illegal. Frankly, like they are like teeter toeing on the line of illegal. But obviously it's obviously not illegal because it exists. So but yeah, it's borderline, which is I just find it really amusing. And you have to be really careful when doing stuff like this because the law is a dangerous game. You don't want to mess with it. So definitely a good selling point. I would mention that there's other options like OrB2B, Vector, Snitcher. These all do the same thing, where you just if you visit the site, the code pixel is able to track you, figure out where you are, and basically figure out who you are all at the same time. So you'll need integrations with products like Clay to make this work. Bitscale, there's a few of them. Persona, DataBar is also another one, and all it is you can set up a webhook, So like this is, let's say, your site. Set up like a webhook here. So when someone visits the site, it goes to the it goes to the Clay, and then from Clay you can enrich it, and then you send it over to SmartLead in this corner. So that's like a little automation you can kind of build out. So next is Smart Delivery. I may have forgotten to remove the word Smart Delivery, so you have to bear with me here. It's client access. So the main difference is client access. When using both Instantly and Smartly, the one thing I noticed when operating multiple clients was the client access. Uh, there might have been a way to do this in Instantly. I was talking to an Instantly user, and they send a lot of emails, and they're very good at what they do. And they said there's a way of going about this. Frankly, they don't make it obvious enough though, which is the thing. So like this setup, like I used it for a few, like 4 or 5 clients, and I was trying to manage the inboxes for all of them, and it just was not working. So they were always like, can I see the okay, so clients I work with were like, can I see the email sent? What do the stats look like? What do the replies look like? They want to make sure like I'm actually doing my job. And obviously I am actually doing my job. Well, I hope so anyways, but I was actually doing my job. And they just wanted to see, get you the number, see if people were just going a bit mad, mental, you know, naturally. So yeah, drove me a little nuts. Not because they were asking, but when using Instantly, I had to create a complete separate workspace for them, like specifically. So it's just one of those things. In Smartly, I just make a white label client access, and it's done. Like genuinely, it's just done. I can add a client access. All the leads are in one spot. I just tag them. Everything's fine. There's no switching in between like 2 to 3 kind of different accounts workspaces. Drove me nuts. I'm being completely honest here. So Smartly and Instantly also have like a ton of smaller features that aren't included in this list. The first one I can think about is ESP matching and sending, which I'm actually thinking might be a bad idea now, just because it doesn't seem natural, but we'll see. But these are the main ones. Yeah. So as you know what I use. If you haven't noticed, I'm a massive advocate for Smartly. I was just it's just one of those things. Like I switched over and I was like, damn, the analytics is incredible and all this. And like they've just niched down to cold email. It's just straight cold email. Like there's no CRM, there's no website visitors. I'm not saying they're not going to do it in the future, but like they've truly niched down to cold email right now. And again, Instantly also kind of have. So it's just kind of a give take relationship. And although you sacrifice some of the UI, you'll get 10x the benefits just from the data alone. I'm telling you, the data is king. So they're at the forefront of the industry, and I will say so is Instantly, constantly iterating as the landscape is changing. And what I will preface this with is there's no saying I won't go back to Instantly. It does get more difficult to go back to Instantly, but there's no saying I won't go back to Instantly at some point in the future. Or maybe I'll use both. So, what should you do is the real question in this. So, yeah, I'll preface this because like both of their like they're just both incredible, right? Both are incredible platforms, and it depends on your needs. My recommendation is if you're a beginner to intermediate level, Instantly is probably the ideal option. You need to get your feet wet because you actually need to know what you're actually doing. If you've never sent an email before, you don't know what stats to actually look for, you don't know what a failed campaign looks like, or maybe a successful campaign. Like you don't know. So get your feet wet. You don't even know why you need data. Most of you don't understand how to use the metrics you're given, how to use an API, etc. If you're an intermediate to advanced, you already know what Smart Lead is. I don't have to tell you twice. You're just probably watching this for fun. So that's it. See ya.